All right, so here we are up at the bee yard, January 4th. Happy New Year, everybody. Just wanted to give you a quick update. I was in every one of these. I put on the Hive Alive fondant patties. I'll go over later how I put them in. And some of them are for insurance in case I can't get to them or snowed in or too cold to put them on. And then other ones might actually have been needed, especially in these singles. The single population in the one to the right is ridiculous. There's a lot. But anyways, I just wanted to go over a couple things. When you come up to your bee yard in the winter, if you're a new beekeeper and you see stuff like this, and I have to admit, it even happened to me today. This one down here, that's from the clean out that I did a couple weeks ago. This one got chilled. The back of the double deeps stacked. The boxes didn't meet very well, and they weren't wrapped at that time. So there was a big gap the whole length of it that I missed. I noticed it when I was treating them with oxalic acid vaporization. It was pouring out the back. So that's why that one's taped all the way around. And then I got the wrap on it. So not a good start for this one to the winter, but they're alive. And then here you go. Landing boards, front entrance. It's been really wet here. Super foggy on the way up. Again, landing board. That one looks pretty bad. This one certainly looks horrible. And then this one not so bad. But anyways, that's just simply what happens in the winter. The bees that carry them out can't make it very far. So sometimes they just get pushed right out the entrance and there they sit. As long as they're not blocking your entrance, you're fine. I will clean those off, but I didn't do it before because I just wanted to show you that, you walk up here and it can be a little concerning. But the good news is everybody's alive. Other than one, I think most of them have moved up. I don't like that necessarily, but I don't rotate my boxes at the beginning of winter where if they're up in the top box, you put them on the bottom and then you switch them. I don't do that. I've had success without doing it, so I don't break that seal between those two double deeps. These seals between any of these double deeps hasn't been broke for over 2 months. So that's, well glued and no airflow through those except for that one I talked about. But yeah, so the Hive Alive fondant's on there, and I'm going to do some treatments here. Oxalic acid. Again, with the treatments too, I noticed that some people were doing them when it was in the 30s or even lower. They don't break cluster until 40s. So if you're doing them at too low of a temperature, you're really just treating the outside bees of the cluster. You're not treating the whole cluster or the whole colony. So I'm going to use this opportunity. It's slightly in the 40s to go ahead and just give them all a quick treatment, and then that should be it for the winter. I was on it. That treatment is basically just an insurance policy because hopefully I did everything right prior to it. But why not take this opportunity? It's not going to be raining. It's not going to be cold. So if they do push them out, they'll clean themselves off, catch their breath, and then they'll go back in before the day's over. So I'll go over a couple things, break this video up a little bit with the fondant. But anyways, all is good. We have all of them still alive. I'm not going to say there isn't some concerns. Can't remember which ones now, but some of them were under 4 frames. Some of them I couldn't see through the top. For instance, on the end here, 5 and 9, especially 9, I couldn't see when I pulled the burlap away and the chips. I couldn't see any frames. That's how many bees are up there. So what that means, I don't know, other than the fact that they definitely needed food up in that area. They tend to not go down as well as they go up. So if they're already in your top boxes, other than spring when things warm up and they're much more moving around the inside, you gotta put some feed on there. So if you're in Grand Rapids, I got the Hive Alive fondant patties. I got some left for sale if you're interested. Quick and easy. Basically all I did was, they look like crap because of the tape, but the tape was all the way around. I just peeled the tape back, popped that front seam right there, and slid them right in. Super easy, super great. There's about a 2-inch, 1.5-inch feeder shim built in these boxes for that upper entrance. Also, I've taken a lot of interesting comments. Let's just leave it at that. Been called some names and stuff, but whatever. Some of the egos. Anyways, if I didn't have those upper entrances, the bottom entrances for sure would have been blocked off with snow. What happened during that time, I don't know. I don't check them, but I know I sleep a lot better knowing that the bees have a way to get in and out. And then you'll see on your front of your boxes, there's some cleansing flights that didn't quite make it all the way out, and they defecated on the front of the hive. You'll see that. I am not concerned with how much I'm seeing. If it is completely covered, you should be concerned. You should be concerned about their gut health. So you're going to see that. They're just simply not flying. They're simply just coming out. And once we hit that warm day after that cold spell, that's what they do. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm pleased. I'm not going to say I wasn't a little worried, but things are really, really good here. So I'm going to knock out these treatments, and I'll talk to you in a bit. Okay, so here we are. This is how I put the fondant on. So their instructions are you cut a hole, square in the center, and then flip it and put it directly in, or directly above the center. Or if you're using it above an inner cover, then you put it directly above the inner cover to give them access to it. I have the quilt boxes with the feeder shim, so a couple-inch feeder shim. So I don't put them above the inner cover. I put them directly on the frames. And since I slide from the front, I put my window right here on the label side so that I can actually see what's going on the back side. So when it's laying on the frame, I can see the activity, see how much they've consumed. If it's like this, it's much harder. Done that before, I wasn't happy with it. So anyways, put your access point on the label side and then put it on. And because of my feeder shim, they have access to the top a little bit. So this bled a little bit. I cut 2 windows long ways also. So when I slide this in, this hole's offset. So it's more in the center of the colony when I slide it in from the front because I don't go all the way in. Condensation will build on these, and I try and keep the edge towards the front, so if there is condensation, it builds on that, and it does drip at all, it's not dripping directly over the colony. They say to put it in the center, but they also are showing it used over an inner cover. I don't do it that way. I put it directly over the colony because of the setup with the quilt boxes. So I put these 2 access points here so that they can come to the top and they can eat as well. When you use these, you notice that they have the hardest point getting them out of the corners. Also, you can see that this, for whatever reason in shipping, and has got a thicker side. I put the window towards the thicker side, so if it would have been that way, I would put it like that. And then I slide it in, say this is my body. My window's more over the center, and this is towards the front, so that any moisture will drip closer to the edge of the front and go down. So I slide them under my quilt boxes from the front, and again, I make these windows here open. I pull everything out so that they can also access the top. When I was there, they were accessing the top before I left in this video that you'll see. So anyways, that's the fondant. I have it available in Grand Rapids. I had the liquid. Honestly, I have the cheapest prices around for the liquid. I don't ship. Maybe at some point, but I'm not shipping right now. Also, I have the Pro Nuke boxes. The prices on those are going up. My prices right now are still the same. They will go up, like everything. And if you're in Grand Rapids for pickup or meet in Grand Rapids, I have free samples of the Hive Alive liquid supplement. So I have the fondant for sale. I also use the pollen patties. I should have some pollen patties broke down in the 1 pound sizes which is not how they sell it, but I break them down myself. They really like it. Also, shout out to Castle Hives. He did a great video. He just posted up in the last couple days on these Hive Alive, and he's using them mostly through the inner cover, and you can see how well they're eating it. And he had some great points in there, and I've said them myself. If they're eating this, they're not consuming their stores. And those stores, if at all able to hold on to, will be used to for brood in early spring and spring, which is only going to make your hive and your colony that much stronger. So if they're eating this first, I wouldn't be discouraged by that. Also, as he said, and I've said, this promotes good gut health. So if they're eating this first, so be it. And strangely enough, they really seem to prefer this, and they seem to prefer the pollen patties. And you don't normally see that with any kind of supplement or any kind of pollen or anything like that. They'll go for the natural stuff over this other stuff, and I don't see it. If you watch his video, they are consuming these now. I didn't catch how long they have been on his colonies. Mine were put on there today, January 4th. I'll give you an update. We'll be able to quickly look at them because of my quilt boxes. I just lift the burlap and the shavings, and boom, I'll be able to see what's going on. So that is how I keep bees, is with the quilt boxes. Anyways, Grand Rapids area, I have them, have the feed supplement, have free samples. I'll have the pollen patties available in the spring. I have them now if you wanted to buy them. I just don't put them on now. It's too early for that. So anyways, terrible graphics, but this is how I do it. I cut those windows. Remember, your colony is hotter than it is outside. If you completely remove this from here, or your window is too big, it will melt. It will run down the inside of your hive. It will run down your frames. And if it ends up over eggs or brood or bees, you're going to be killing bees. These are designed to be used this way. One time someone put that, oh, I put mine in the freezer so I could get them out of the package better, and then I slid them on the colony, and I was like, it's just going to melt. I mean, it's 40 degrees out here, and you can see it's still pliable. But the inside temperature of your colony is way more than the outside, and it is warm if everything's going well. You want it to be warm, and these will melt and ruin and stick to everything. Do not remove them from the package. Follow the directions for the inner cover. And again, this is how I do it with a feeder shim and a quilt box. If you had just a feeder shim, right? These I have an upper entrance on too. Got a lot of grief for the upper entrances. Okay. Anyways, if you had a feeder shim, this would go right on the frames. And again, I would put this towards the center. So towards the front. They say in the middle, but because of condensation and runoff, I prefer it at the front. I prefer to keep that moisture away from them if by chance it does have condensation on it. Any condensation that ends up on it most likely is going to be consumed, and they're going to think of it as a water source. But if you have a severe problem, I don't want it dripping on my bees. So anyways, basically this feeder shim would be the bottom of my quilt box. I slide it in from the front about that far, and they have access to the top. They have access to that. If I need to replace them, if I need to take a peek at them, everything's quick. Now that they're in there, I can look at them, take a peek at them without even disturbing the colony. All I do is take off the top cover, the inner cover, lift a little bit of the burlap back, and I can see what's going on. And that's it. Great product. I believe that it's kept my bees in good health. As you've seen in the video, everybody's still alive. I'm not seeing any problems of tremendous gut problems on the front of the colonies. I've seen a little bit, but I also didn't use a feed supplement until the end of the year. So they had a lot of reserves of natural honey. And it offsets each other. So before I left, they were already starting to consume this pollen, or I'm sorry, these patties. So it'll be interesting when we get back up there. Anyways, I got some stuff. Hey, if you're in Grand Rapids and you want to try this stuff for free, get a hold of me. If you're making fondant and you want to put this supplement in it, I don't know the recipe. I wouldn't know what you would do, but if you want to play with it, I got some free samples here for you. So thank you. So treatments are done. Oxalic acid vaporization. Everybody Looks good. Like I said before, we got the Hive Alive on there. Some of them for emergency, some of them for insurance. But regardless, they're all got some on there. And if it doesn't get used, you can always melt it down and put it in syrup, but I don't think there'll be an issue of that. So one of these days I'll go over the treatments. I just didn't bring the tripod today, but I do use a Low Rod Bees vaporizer, and I have in the back of these colonies a way to administer it. So basically just a hole for the stem of the vaporizer and a golf tee I use to plug it when it's not in use. And then I put a towel over the front entrances and close everything up. But I will say that these upper entrances, boy, I've taken a lot of grief for upper entrances, quilt boxes, you name it, as if none of this has been done before with success. But anyways, you know, this is how I do bees. This isn't, that's it. That's the bottom line. This is how I do bees. I'm not perfect. I'm no expert. It seems like in the comment sections, there are a lot of perfect people and a lot of experts. So that's great. But this is how I do bees. This is a video blog of how I do bees, how I catch swarms. Now I guess I know why Mike Berry always says that in every video. But this is how I do it, and I've had success, and I hope to have continued success. I do appreciate the comments that are meant to make me think, because I am open to other possibilities and how to do things. But this is the equipment I have. I'm not really interested in collecting equipment. This is what I got. This is what I use. The comments that basically tell me I'm an idiot and I'm wrong and prove that you are not open-minded, keep, you know, have at it. To each his own. But we need to be open-minded about beekeeping. We need to evolve. I guess if you know it all, then maybe it's time to retire. But some of the big names, I've never heard anybody say they know it all, and they've stopped learning. So thank you for the comments that keep me thinking. Some of them I've even used this year, such as the burlap with the chips. That was a comment early on. I really, really like it. It's working great. You can use burlap or you can use chips. Well, I'm using burlap and chips, and it's working wonderful. I'd like to crawl inside these hives on a cold day. That's how warm it is on the inside, and how dry it is on the inside. The top of the burlap, the top of the chips is wet, yes. The bottom of it is dry, and you'd like to snuggle in that burlap. That's how warm and dry it is. So anyways, I appreciate everything. Things are going good here. And I can't wait to start catching swarms, because that's more of my passion than the beekeeping, although I do enjoy the beekeeping. But if I had to pick one, I'd catch the swarms. Also, there might be some good giveaways in the Grand Rapids area this year, because I'm not sure how many more swarms I want to keep. So we'll see. Anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate everything, even the negative comments. Thank you.